Your kid is stuck on their homework. It's 9:47 p.m. You've already explained fractions 3 times and are now questioning the entire public education system, so you say it. It's not that hard. They go quiet. You move on. But their brain doesn't, because kids don't file the math. They file what that moment said about them. Not the homework, the identity. And the voice you use on them becomes the voice they'll use on themselves at 2 a.m. when they're 30. 7 things kids absorb from ordinary parenting, including one that feels like a compliment, that decide whether your child grows up with a voice that believes in them or one that tears them apart. 1. How the voice gets built. Kids aren't born hating themselves. They're trained into it, not on purpose, not in one moment, but through repetition. They learn how to talk to themselves by listening to how we talk to them. And here's the part that catches most parents off guard. The daily micro-interactions. The way your face drops for half a second. The sigh before you help. The tone when they forget again. That moment, kids have HD slow motion replay with subtitles, sometimes with David Attenborough narration. Here we observe the father sighing, a classic sign of parental disappointment. Which would be funny, except decades of research say it's exactly what's happening. Children absorb parental attitudes, and those become the way they speak to themselves. The destructive inner voice doesn't arrive fully formed. It gets assembled quietly from the environment kids grow up inside. And the criticism doesn't have to be harsh to stick. How many times do I have to tell you? Lands as, I am dumb, not, I did something wrong. That's not what you meant. Their brain doesn't know that. Children can't yet separate what they did from who they are. That skill gets built later, or it doesn't get built at all, depending on what they're hearing now. 2. When correction becomes a verdict. This is where the voice gets teeth. There's a difference between correcting behavior and commenting on character. To a child's developing brain, that gap is enormous. You didn't think that through. They can fix their thinking. You never think before you act. They are someone who doesn't think. That was unkind. They did an unkind thing. You're so selfish. They are selfish. Present behavior becomes permanent identity. The action becomes the verdict, which is a lot of psychological weight to attach to the sentence, how many times do I have to tell you to put your shoes away? Harsh verbal discipline at 13 predicts increased depression symptoms 1 year later. 1 year. The gap between cause and consequence is that short. What parents think of as a frustrated correction lands somewhere much deeper than they realize, and it compounds through the labels. The casually assigned family roles, the responsible one, the dramatic one, the difficult one, even said as jokes, get filed as job descriptions. Families love assigning those roles early. It's basically corporate branding for children. The kid quietly registers, this is my role here. Step outside it, and I lose my place. So the easy one never says when they're struggling. The smart one panics the first time something's hard. The dramatic one either performs the drama or shuts down completely. Love starts to feel like it's for the character they were assigned. Don't outgrow the box. And when they do outgrow it, it doesn't feel like growth. It feels like betrayal. The box was never labeled, but they knew exactly where the walls were. Here's the part nobody says out loud. Sometimes we keep kids in those roles because it makes the house easier to manage. The responsible one running on empty is still easier than 2 chaotic ones, which is very convenient for us, less great for them. This is where it starts to stick, and then the praise makes it worse. This is the part almost no one sees coming. 3. The praise that quietly backfires. This one surprises parents because it sounds like love. You're a natural. You just get it. What that's actually building is a self-image that depends entirely on effortlessness, which works great right up until something's hard. Kids praised for being smart watch their confidence collapse the moment something gets hard. You're so gifted. Translation, please don't struggle in public. We've already told the relatives you're the smart one. Because in their framework, success meant they were smart. So struggling means they're not. Picture being 8 years old, staring at a worksheet that suddenly feels impossible, and quietly wondering if you're still the person everyone said you were. That's not a learning moment. That's an identity threat, and their brain logs it accordingly. Kids praised for their effort instead. You must have worked really hard on this. Stay curious after failure. They want the harder problems. They show more persistence, more enjoyment, better long-term performance. The framing is the only difference. Process praise builds resilience and persistence. Kids praised this way perform better in math and reading by 4th grade, which means, you're so gifted, said with all the love in the world, accidentally builds a tightrope act. Their identity lives on a streak one bad day can break. So the kid who won't try the sport, who won't sign up for the competition, who says, I don't care about things they obviously care about. They're not lazy. They're protecting a self-image built on fragile ground. Their inner voice has already decided, if I have to work at this, I must not actually be good at it. And if they're not good at it, what does that say about who they are? The praise that feels most like love is often the praise that makes them the most afraid to fail. And once fear attaches to performance, it doesn't stay in childhood. 4. What the voice sounds like when you hear it back. There's a specific moment parents describe, usually in the car or a random Tuesday conversation when it lands. Their kids says something about themselves, casually, the way you'd state the weather. I'm just bad at this. I always mess things up, and it sounds exactly like something you once said. That's when parents experience a rare psychological event known as, oh no, that was me. Same words, same finality. That's the moment most parents go quiet. That's the moment most parents recognize their own voice. That's internalization complete. The inner critic doesn't retire. It just changes jobs. It keeps running, applying the same framework to new situations, new failures, new relationships, long after the original context is gone. And once that voice feels like the truth, your child won't question it. They'll defend it. The 30-year-old who won't ask for the promotion. The 40-year-old who still apologizes for existing. The 40-year-old who apologizes to furniture after bumping into it. They're not choosing this. The voice is choosing for them. And it was written one remarkable moment at a time in your house. 5. Why this happens and why you're not the villain. Most parents aren't cruel. If anything, most parents are just tired people doing psychological improv with zero rehearsal. Parents aren't doing this deliberately. They're running a voice they grew up with. The critical voice gets passed down through familiarity because it was the normal soundtrack of your childhood. Of course it showed up in yours. 6. What actually changes it? The fix isn't a system, it's a direction. Separate what they did from who they are. Every time, that choice wasn't good. Instead of, you always do this, that was unkind. Instead of, you're so selfish. Their brain needs to learn that actions are changeable, that one hard moment doesn't update the permanent file. Praise the process specifically, not, you're so smart. Try, I watched how hard you worked on that. The specificity is what makes it land. It tells them exactly what they did that had value, which means they know how to repeat it and come back when you get it wrong. No speech needed, just, that came out wrong earlier. I didn't mean that. They might shrug. They might not look up. Teenagers communicate primarily through shoulder movements. It still lands. 7. What you're actually giving them. The voice gets written in the ordinary moments. The 9:47 p.m. fractions conversation. The half second before you respond. The sigh you didn't realize you made. Every time you separate behavior from identity, you revise the script. Every time you notice effort, you revise the script. Every time you come back, you revise the script. One day, your kid will sit somewhere alone with their thoughts. You won't be there. but your voice will. The question is whether it sounds like pressure or like someone who believes in them. If this hit home, the next video connects directly to it. It's called What Kids Actually Learn from the Silent Treatment, and it picks up exactly where this one ends. What happens when kids learn that big feelings make the people they love go quiet? That video is next.